This video was made possible by the EA Creator Network. Hey everyone, it is Tanya. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I'm back with another build with The Sims 4 Horse Ranch, and happy release day. This should be posted on the 20th, so it is out live now. However, this was recorded with early access software, which is why you might see some glitches. It's not final software, and also why my name is bouncing across the screen. Like always with every new release, today we are creating a tiny home. And I thought the perfect thing to do was to create like a modern farmhouse tiny home. It's not like ultra modern and fully to the extent of that because a lot of the items in this pack are more rustic in style, but the shape, the colors, the windows, I had so much fun with this build. It's probably my favorite of the ones I did with early access, and I'm very excited to share it with you. It does take a while for us to get to the windows and stuff that you would have seen in the screenshots or in the thumbnail, but we do get there, and I love it. The windows in this pack are really cool. I know when we saw like previews of the windows that were coming with Horse Ranch, a lot of us were a little bit upset because it looked like we were getting one that was pretty much the same as the one from Growing Together. That is like a triangle window. However, it's much smaller. It's like the same shape, but it is much smaller and is the swatches of this pack instead. And I just think it's so much more useful. The one from Growing Together is so cool, but like I have so much trouble using it because it's so big. Like, where do you fit it in? So it ends up being in the roof line of this build. So you'll see that here shortly. But we're just trying every paint color on the outside of this and trying to figure out how to make this come together. I was trying to use the new roof swatches, but then I realized that didn't really fit the style I was going for, so I ended up going with this base game metal roofing instead, and I do end up pulling the roof out a little bit more instead of having it sunken back like that. I think that helped dramatically, and then we're trying out different windows, because at this point I wasn't even thinking about the triangle window for some reason, but once I find that, it's absolutely perfect and needs to be there. I also wanted to have this like little modern bump out that has like more of a concrete vibe to it instead of all of the wood that I have everywhere else. I just thought that that would be a nice modern touch and kind of break it up a little bit. I was happy with that decision, and the shape is really coming together now. It's pretty simple, but here's that window. It's like the star of the show. Instantly, it looks so much nicer. I love it so much. It's such a cool little house. I am listing this as a tiny house, but I technically don't know how many tiles it is. I didn't count them, but I don't have Tiny Living installed while I was building this because I just had the base game and Horse Ranch. So, yeah, I'm not sure which tier of tiny house it is. It should be considered one though, because I didn't like use a ton of like platforms or anything like that. It just has that little front deck, and then we have lots of outdoor space, which we're starting to decorate the rest of the lot now using lots of these trees that came in a live edit with this pack, as well as lots of rocks and lots of flowers and grasses and stuff. I really wanted this space to feel a little bit overgrown. I thought that that was a nice contrast to the modern style of the house. I love doing stuff like that. I've done that quite a few times where I build like a ultra modern house in the desert in Selva Dorada, or not in the desert, in the jungle. Very different things. We're building more in a desert now. But I like that contrast there. So I thought an overgrown look here would be nice. I also grabbed this truck. I found this archway, which I was really inspired by. We also have some of these little planters. We're just really digging through live edit and trying to be inspired by it. This fence is actually the matching part to the archway, and I love how it's wavy. It's like kind of warped with weather, and I just think that looks so cool. It's nice to have that. So I ended up kind of wrapping the yard in this fencing, and this archway kind of leads you to the front door, which I thought added a lot of visual interest to this lot and helped make it feel a little bit more private as well, since most of these lots are sort of open to everything. It's not entirely closed off. I do have like gaps here and there, and I wanted it to look like this truck could come in and out of this yard space. So that's what I did, and I also kind of ended the fence with a shrub. It made sense to me, and then I didn't have to worry about trying to connect it properly to the house. I just think adding a little bit of fencing here would be nice, and I didn't add room for a horse on this lot. I don't think every build with this pack has to be for horses. You could just get like mini goats and sheep, which are also part of this pack. Or this could be a nice house to put like chickens or something like that from Cottage Living. I do have this like debug shed back there. That would be a perfect spot for a chicken coop if you decided to have that. I do have a place to put a saddle here. I don't think you can do this in the game. I could be wrong. I didn't do a ton of gameplay, but I was thinking even though there's not a spot for a horse here, perhaps this sim does still go riding. I know that's a thing for a lot of people who are really passionate about horses and do horse riding, they might not live someplace where they can actually store a horse. So they have one that they go and visit at a stable, and they spend time with them, take care of them, and ride them, but they don't live on their property. So I thought it was fine to still have a saddle on this property, even though they don't have space for a horse. And I believe that item with the saddle and blanket and stuff on it is from Live Edit Objects. I could be wrong, but I don't think I saw it in the regular catalog. Sometimes it gets a little bit confusing, though, because I do look at everything. And if you didn't see it already, I believe yesterday I posted a full like build and buy overview of all of the items that came in this pack. If you'd like to see everything, including Live Edit. I know a lot of people like to view those to see if it's something they would like to purchase or not, like see all of the items, see everything included before they go ahead and buy it. So I went pretty in depth. I was recording for a very long time, but I think it gives you a good idea of what to expect. Anyway, out here, I'm still working on landscaping, getting some places to sit down. I really like that chair I put on the front porch. It's a very small space, but I just thought it looked nice there. And then I'm just getting some more plants. All of the plants, absolutely everywhere. That wooden bench, by the way, though, I really, really like that. I feel like that's going to be another thing that I use in a lot of spaces that could work nice for like a breakfast nook. It looks like the kind of bench that might be built in to a breakfast nook in a house. So I could see that happening. I could see me using that in the future. And then I'm just getting some more rocks here, really just digging through Debug and Live Edit to see what we can add. I did move that bench. I'm trying to think if I put it back or if it goes inside or if it shows up anywhere at all. I know it was here for quite a while though, and I've used it in other builds, but it's a really cute item. It's just, this is a pretty small house. Yeah, I have to be a little bit, a little bit cautious with which items I use because I can't fit everything in here. Do I grab it again though? I feel like I might. Either way, I did get a nectar making station in the backyard. You can see that I placed that, or I guess in the side yard, so your students can go ahead and like stomp on grapes and make some nectar, which is a new gameplay feature with this pack. I haven't played with that yet either, but I remember playing with it a lot in The Sims 3. I believe we had nectar making with World Adventures for when you were traveling to France, if I'm remembering correctly. Which was really cool. And I think we might have had it in previous games as well, but I remember it in Sims 3. And then here I'm just getting a pathway to the front. I wanted it to be like these modern stones, but it to be like a little bit messed up. So the further you get to the exit, they're not as like neatly placed. I thought that looked nice. And then I ended up adding some like more greenery around there and more dirt. And I play around with the landscaping here quite a bit and just try to make it look as realistic as possible. And I want to say that this lot is one of the ones where the terrain paint disappeared at some point and I had to redo it because we still have that glitch in the game, unfortunately. It's very bothersome. I get so upset when that happens, especially when you're working on a bigger lot. Luckily, this is a smaller one and it was kind of easy to fix, but sometimes when you do like really detailed landscaping and terrain paint, it just completely disappearing is so disheartening. Anyway, over here, I'm adding some more greenery. This is just it's not that big of a lot, but since it's a tiny house, it feels like there's a lot of outdoor space and I didn't want anything to feel empty. So I'm just really trying to cover everything up and get lots of stuff in this yard and making it feel balanced. So just grabbing some more of those rocks. And then we're working on the floor plan of this house, which is very small. And I did not know what I was doing. We're going to see together how much of this floor plan I kept in because it took me way too long. Oh, I can already tell I cut a decent amount of this out. I ended up swapping where the kitchen and the bedroom are now, though. You'll see me starting to place down the kitchen here shortly, I think. And then I'll swap which sides they're on. But for a while, I just had no idea. I drew out like 6 or 7 floor plans before I ended up working on this one and then figuring it out. But it was just a tricky one for some reason. It's a weird shape, I guess. But I should be swapping that here any moment because the kitchen's going to go where the bedroom is instead, which worked so much better. I ended up liking that layout a lot better. It's pretty small. It is a tiny house, but it worked out. And then the bathroom is going to be in the front here instead of that little space in the back, which also works quite nicely. So there is like one unused tile in the bedroom space right now I blocked off, but it allowed us to, or actually no, I think I put it back. I did. See, for a while I was like, there's an unused tile, but it's a tiny house. I can't do that. I can't leave that way. So I ended up being able to put other things in there and make the bedroom a little bit bigger. And I'm using some of the new floor tile that came with this pack. I didn't end up keeping that stone in the kitchen. I think it's really pretty. It just didn't feel right for this house. So I should be changing that back in a little while. But you can see the layout of the kitchen is pretty good sized for a tiny house, in my opinion. Like, it's a pretty big kitchen for a tiny home. But it's very rustic looking, which is not really what I wanted for like a modern farmhouse. But unfortunately, most of the swatches of this are quite rustic in nature. So I did what I could because I did really want to use the new stuff, not use base game items. So you could probably swap that out with some other items from other packs if you download this build. But I think the outside looks really nice with the new stuff that we got. Just wrapping around the kitchen here to add a little bit more space. So this is actually a really good sized kitchen. This is bigger than my kitchen. I live in an apartment and this tiny house has a much bigger kitchen than me. So that's the layout we end up going with in there. I really like the corner cabinet piece on the top. It has some really cute clutter in there. There's cutting boards. We all know how I feel about those. And then I decided to put the doors to the bathroom and the bedroom in this little hallway space. I just think it looks a little bit neater that way and it's quite realistic. So that's what I opted to do. And then we should be adding a TV over here as well as like a chair in that little corner. And these tapestries, if you put them next to each other, they combine to be this mountain range, which I think is so pretty. So of course I had to put those up there and then just trying to figure out a rug. I believe I ended up going with this one, which is probably my favorite of the new rugs that we got, this particular swatch, because it's really neutral and I feel like it's going to fit with a lot of builds. But I am trying everything before I settle because I really wanted to try and use like a different swatch that was a little bit more fun. But I thought that this one just made more sense for this house. So that's what I opted for. And then I got a plant over here, which is also from the new pack, as is the chair. And just going through everything else, I ended up adding this little dresser in here, but then I got rid of it because I realized I could fit a fireplace here. This is the new one that came with the pack. We got 2 of them, and I really like that. And then I didn't end up using one of the new coffee tables. I used this base game one that is like a side table that we got when Growing Together came out because it's more modern and I felt like it just fit the space a bit better. And then of course getting some artwork and decorating the counters in the kitchen. We have this new clutter piece that is just a pot. We also have stacks of plates, which is really exciting, and they stack. Like you can actually put them on top of each other. I don't remember if I put them on this counter or not. I'm just getting other clutter, but I also put the new utensil crock by the stove, and here are those stacking plates. They are so cool. I'm so glad to have some more like normal basic kitchen clutter. We've been slowly getting that, where we got our first stack of plates ever, I believe, was with the Snowy Escape pack. And then we also got like cups or mugs with the Everyday Clutter kit. So getting more of these little pieces like this is so nice. I really like adding that to the space, and it just makes it feel more realistic and lived in. I'm trying other tiles in here. I don't think I kept a tile in there in the end, though. I'm pretty sure I just kept the wood. It looked a lot nicer and made the space flow together better because it's such a small space. Having a continuous floor makes it feel more open and airy, and that's definitely something you usually want to do in a tiny home. So that's what I opted for. And then, of course, getting some pots and pans in here and just trying to fill up the space and making it look fully decorated. So I got a little chalkboard over there so you could like write down meals or maybe ingredients you need to get at the store. And then I just got a little clock here as well. And then into the bathroom we go. You might have seen that I swapped to this tile in the kitchen. It's a base game one, black and white, very modern. I quite like it. And I think it fits the style a little bit better than a lot of the things that this pack had. But using the black in here I thought looked pretty good. Obviously the shower is a little bit rustic, but I think that the sink is perfect. I really like how that looks in here, and combined with the really cute windows, it's just such a cute space. I really like this tiny house. I think modern farmhouse it's been really trendy for years. I feel like it's probably on its way out, but it is something that I still enjoy, and it's nice to have the like big barn doors that we can use now on the inside of homes or on the outside. I think a lot of these items are going to get a lot of use and be pretty popular with the community. Definitely let me know if there's anything that you're excited to use or any item that you're surprised to see here. I'm like, a lot of the little things is what I'm excited about. It's like the pots and pans for the kitchen. The rugs are really nice. I love this bed. There's just some really beautiful items in this pack, so I'm quite happy with it. This is a new mirror. I don't think it's anything too special. It's fine. It matches everything. So I did use it in here, but it's not like one that I'm going wild for. It's fine. We also got this new ottoman, which I'm just placing against the wall here. I was trying to figure out what to put in here because it's such a small space, and I wanted to make sure you could navigate, so I didn't opt to put like a desk or anything like that. Although a desk would probably be nice in here somewhere so you can use a computer. That might be something you'd like to change out in this home if you decide to download it. And speaking of which, I mentioned this in my other video yesterday, but I will not be home when this goes live. I will be out of town. So I will not have this up on the gallery yet, but I will either on Friday or on Saturday. I'll be uploading all of my early access builds to the gallery. So apologies for that. But if you do like this and you'd like to download it, it will be up sometime this weekend under my EA ID, which is Gryphi, Gryphi. So please bear with me. I unfortunately have the release of this pack when I'm not going to be home, and I'm always home. So that's kind of fun. Anyway, I'm just adding a stereo in here. That's another new item that came with Horse Ranch. I think it's a really cute stylized piece. And then of course getting a fire alarm so, you know, you can keep your sim safe, and a little plant, and I believe a side table over here as well. Did I keep the cactus, or did I think it was too much? It was too much. I thought it might be. It just felt like it was too cluttered over in that corner. But I do add this little base game side table, and do I add a lamp on it? I want to say I add a lamp, which this one has like an issue with clipping into the wall, so I didn't all place it and add other clutter. I just had the lamp, kept it pretty simple, and then I was just going through and looking at the other swatches to see if I wanted to change any of them. I can't remember if I did. Did I change it to white, or did I go back to beige? It looks like it's white right now. Am I keeping it? I might be keeping it. That's okay. It's always interesting to watch back and be like, what did I decide to do there? And seeing if I go back on decisions or if I still agree with them when I'm watching the footage back. But just got a trash can inside and outside, and then we are getting a place to sit outside to do some outdoor dining, and of course getting a lantern out there so you can see a little bit better at night. And we also got this little like basket of utensils and condiments and stuff, so that'd be good for like dining outside. It felt appropriate to put on the picnic table, so that's what I did. I also hadn't had a mailbox yet, so just grabbing that to put outside, and then back into Live Edit Objects to see if there's more grasses I want to put around or any final touches to the landscaping before we head on into screenshots. Just grabbing some more of those flowers and low-lying shrubs and these little white and yellow flowers. I think they're also pretty. I really like the new plants we got with this, and of course adding some more terrain paint as well, since I did have some issues with it. But that's it for this build. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more, and if you click that bell, it'll turn on notifications to be notified of every single time I upload a new video. Thank you so very much for watching. Let me know what else you'd like to see with the Horse Ranch pack in the coming weeks, and I will see you all in the next one. Enjoy the screenshots. Bye everyone.